solid of all of them. And the only one that wouldn't give an FLA that made any difference. It's the most ironic thing. All the other ones would give you these like 4 and 5 nines SLAs, and then
they're wearing nice suits because they don't know how to watch it.
Yeah. And then social goals like, we're not going to make any promises. You either trust us or you don't. Here's references. And you know, at first I was like, well, that's ridiculous. I checked the references and we tested their task and it worked, and so we went that direction.
Very cool.
But it's the same model that you have here.
Very similar. Very similar.
This is OpenFeint X is just your next release of OpenFeint, or is it something else?
No, it's a new, totally new product. So when you think about, let me jump back to the diagram. So when you look at all this stuff right now, right now online game services are what we have, right? This is the Xbox Live stuff.
Right.
This is a precursor. It's required in order to do this stuff. Like you have to have online accounts. You need to have friends. You need to create an environment for social competition before you can even begin building virtual goods and microtransaction-based games.
Because people won't buy goods if they're not competing?
Not necessarily, but when you add in friends, it just makes it so much more compelling. And since this stuff is free-to-play, you need to do whatever you can do to maximize that conversion.
Yeah.
You know, because people are going to be playing your game, and they're going to know if they like it or not before they spend the money. So this kind of stuff is really important to get your game online in the first place, so that people have their friends there and they know what's going on. And they compete with them. And then the social game services, which is what OpenFeint X is all about, is a layer that literally sits on top of that and provides you with the ability to do the analytics and stuff like Dave was talking about, the soft currency with the wallet, handling the transactions. We're going to tie into in-app purchases, billing, and tune things over the air. And then we're even going to have the ability for you to write code that runs on the cloud in a sandbox. So if you want to trigger events that happen at a certain time or coordinate some logic, we'll literally make it so you can build this kind of game without doing any server work. This is a brand new product.
Have you ever done any payment processing stuff before?
No, but fortunately we don't have to because it's in-app purchase.
Oh, you're using in-app purchase using Apple?
Yeah. Yeah. So we get just like.
I'm still not following that, how you also because somebody uses your SDK or your platform to build the game and integrates everything, then you're monitoring, someone bought something.
Yes.
So now, you made money, we know you made money.
Yes.
So now here's the bill.
Well, there's two ways in-app purchase works. One is that they purchase something and the purchase goes through and you go, that's fine, and I set a flag. And they have that thing. That's easily hacked by using trivial means. The second way is that there's a way of querying back through a server that you would have to write yourself all the way through to Apple to make sure that actually happens.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're providing you with the server authoritative record of the purchase, basically. And in many cases, what will happen is you may add content that didn't ship on your client in the first place. So in order for the user to even get the storage, you have to send them the bits for the source. So we'll know. I mean, I suppose you could use OpenFeint X and then hack up our source code so that you get the in-app purchase without downloading, but, you know, don't do that.
So you're doing DLC hosting?
Yeah. So we'll be hosting downloadable content that comes through the store. Also, as part of that, we're going to be providing just content that if you're on a new level that maybe doesn't even come through the store, you can push it down. So there's all our information about OpenFeint X on our website if you want.
Yeah, it should be pointed out, in-app purchase does not handle free. So if you want to do free DLC, you have to write your own stuff. I assume you would take care of that.
Yeah, so our virtual goods store is basically a storefront built on top of a downloadable content service. So we're going to have downloadable content separate from in-app purchase. If you just want to add stuff to your game over the air, you can do it, and we'll send down the content for you. And then we're hoping that you would then add a virtual goods store to your game and put a lot of new content in there and then sell it to players. So we'll do both. So it's a prerequisite.
Does Apple allow this?
Yeah.
Downloadable content?
Yeah.
That's true.
I do it now.
Yeah, you can download data, you just can't download code.
Yeah,
That's
you just got to host it on your own. That's the garbage.
And how do you...
Well, Link sent an email, he says no.
Sorry. So this idea that you have where you would create hooks in your game to make it complexity levels or difficulty levels or whatever, and then as you're kind of watching this, wouldn't that piss people off that, you know, they noticed the game was harder than it was 2 weeks ago, but then they didn't have to buy this thing, now they have to buy this thing? I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking.
No. I mean, well, maybe. I mean, maybe. I mean, it depends.
I've been doing this 23 years. You piss off a lot of people.
Yeah.
The way you know that it's right is if half the people think it's too easy and half the people think it's too hard, and nobody thinks it's just right.
Yeah.
By the way, if you really want to make money with microtrans, you have to do lots of little tricks. And it's really not Jason's role to tell you how to make your game, but he's going to learn more about it than anyone else, because he'll be monitoring everybody's game who's using this. So it'll be a fountain of knowledge. Hopefully you'll share that with everyone.
We do actually, a big part of it. So, I mean, as you guys know, like, our product is only a piece of what we do. We do lots of support. We help you guys design your games and you know, make the engagement stuff the way that it really should be. Going forward in this with OpenFeint, we're going to do, much like David's talking about, we're going to be working with everyone to help you build the game and design your game to really take advantage of this stuff. Because it's literally like, when I was talking about how, online games require, a new style of thinking, like the kind of stuff that Fair Dismount did. This is what the Game Center is bringing, in the next 6 months, what everyone needs to know, because this is going to be table stakes. The stuff that OpenFeint is bringing, which will also launch in a similar time frame, it's like the next thing. And it's a completely new way of thinking about making games. Like when you look at a game like Worms, and you think, how do you turn this into a free-to-play microtransaction game? You've got to start, okay, maybe it's not hard then, but I mean, when I look at this, I think, could I have, before sitting here and thinking about free-to-play games for, a year, could I have engineered this so that it actually makes enough money that makes a sustainable business? And you could throw mud at the wall, but actually going through the process of turning this game into something that is sustainable and generates enough revenue to keep you going, I think it's a lot harder than it sounds. Otherwise, there'd be 50 fingers.
So that the worm can have arms.
There you go. And bacon.
And bacon. Underground.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, do you have more slides?
No, I was almost done. If you guys, I'll finish this.
I have a kind of a short question.
Sure.
Do you see your platform getting people for things that aren't necessarily games, or kind of like social apps? I know there's a lot of boring and things.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are many apps actually use OpenFeint right now. There's a really fun task management app called Done It, where you get achievement points for completing your task, and there's like a leaderboard of who gets the most shit done. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I know, right? And there's I forget who, but a professor or a game designer did a talk at TED recently about how everything is becoming a game. And he broke it down to like how you're going to get points for brushing your teeth every morning, and if you do it 7 days in a row, you get a bonus reward from the toothpaste company, and then you can take those points and apply them for the discount on your toothbrush. Like, I mean, you can kind of exactly, like there will be no intrinsic motivation at all.
Yeah. That was a great talk, actually.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It started, the first half of his talk was like, oh, that's very insightful, and then he just jumped off a cliff. Anyway, the key. Let me just wrap up, and then we can jam. The key message that I wanted to get across today is that with Game Center and what Apple's done, online games are coming, and they are going to be table stakes. And if your game is not online, you need to get it online now. It's because, and the big benefit of all this is that if you do it right, it improves the engagement of your game. People will play your game longer. They'll get obsessive compulsive about beating high scores and collecting achievements and doing weird things, like I mentioned about driving a bike into a wall. In a racing game where the objective is to get through the end of the level, because they want to, get to 40 points to get a higher score than their friends because they want the achievement or something. But it also increases player expectations because this stuff is going to start being everywhere. You're going to have to do it, and people are going to expect you to do it right. So you can't just slap it in. You got to do the kind of things that Jekar Stunts and Fair Dismount do to really provide a good experience. And I mentioned speed bumps as an analogy. It's kind of the things that we have these little words that we use to describe about the best ways to do this. And actually Jacob's talk next, he's going to take a deep dive into some of the design ideas and philosophy we have around building really good leaderboards and challenges and achievements and multiplayer, that kind of stuff. So he'll go over all the new thinking that you have to do to really figure out the way this works. And lastly, like I said, this unfortunately has very little to do with making more money, because once everyone is doing this, it's not going to be enough to differentiate your game. So you have to start thinking forward about what can you do to really start making money, and that's where OpenFeint comes in with all of our social game services that we're going to be doing in the future.